Please welcome the head of Global Partner Organization at Amazon Web Services, Doug Young.
Welcome to the 2020 AWS reInvent Partner Keynote. It's great to have all of you join us today. This year is unlike any other in recent history. And this year's reInvent is unlike any other. We're adapting and introducing new ideas to ensure you have a great reInvent experience. I think the first 2 days have been pretty special. And I encourage you to join us for the next 2 weeks to learn about all the different ways in which you can work with AWS to help your customers and grow your businesses. Before we dive into the keynote, I want to recognize all of our partners for demonstrating your passion and perseverance this year as you continue to help our customers and communities. It's been truly impressive to see how quickly so many AWS partners have responded and rose to the challenge when needed. Without your incredible support, this year would have been so much more difficult for many of our customers and communities. So, from everyone at AWS, we thank you for everything you've done. We've had many changes this year, but luckily, one thing has not changed, and that is the pace of innovation at AWS. During Andy's keynote, he announced 27 new services and major features that our customers have asked us to build. I'm sure each of you have already picked out your favorite new service, am I right? For me, I'm really excited about the new EC2 instances based on the new Graviton 2 processor and the new GP3 volume for EBS. I just love how we continue to innovate and iterate on behalf of our customers to help them reduce costs while improving the performance of their applications using these services. This is unique to AWS. It helps us earn trust from our customers. I'm looking forward to seeing how you will take advantage of the new services to deliver greater value for your customers. Andy also shared 8 keys to reinvention. He mentioned that these keys are not technical, they're about leadership, and I could not agree with him more. Reinvention requires strong leadership. And when I look at some of our consulting partners like Accenture, Slalom, and Rackspace, who are successfully transforming into cloud-first companies, the leaders of these companies play an extremely important role. These leaders have strong conviction about the cloud, set big, audacious goals for their companies, and as they transformed, they were not afraid to cannibalize some of their existing businesses if necessary. They were willing to make this hard trade-off in order to lead and shape the future of their companies. This takes a lot of courage. Based on my conversations with partners this year, I'm feeling more optimistic as more CEOs have shared that they are now willing to make this trade-off. Having a strong commitment from CEOs is great, and it's really important. But I'm quick to remind them that speed matters a lot right now. Having a sense of urgency is important. Fortunately, I'm seeing more partners moving faster this year than ever before. Just this year alone, companies like NEC, Orange Business Services, AllCloud, Amdocs, and OutSystems have all made strategic decisions to double down on their investments to grow their AWS practices and build solutions on AWS. In return, AWS is making big investments into these partners to help them with their transformation journeys. Our goal is to help our partners to maximize the value of their existing assets, their customer relationships, their deep industry experience, their unique offerings to deliver differentiated value to their customers. We will help our partners become better prepared for the future. Partners who've been working with AWS for a while and have leveraged the AWS platform, people, programs, they were clearly better prepared to respond to the pandemic. And I'd like to share one interesting story of an AWS partner that used their deep understanding of the platform to help a small business thrive. Quadrant Biosciences is a life sciences company working with universities across the US to develop and commercialize solutions for early detection of neurological disorders. In December 2019, they launched Clarify ASD, the world's first saliva-based test to detect autism spectrum disorder. With the onset of the pandemic, they wanted to help their community and quickly decided to develop a saliva-based COVID-19 test kit. However, before rolling out this solution, they needed to make sure that they could cost-effectively analyze the samples collected from the hundreds of thousands of people who would be using this test kit. This was an important step because as a small business, they have financial constraints. So they reached out to Innovative Solutions, an AWS advanced consulting partner, to see if they could help assess their diagnostics platform, which runs on AWS. Innovative Solutions used its expertise in conducting well-architected reviews and found ways to optimize the platform to reduce the operating costs by 70%. Using the newly optimized diagnostics platform, Quadrant successfully tested over 500,000 people so far with their COVID-19 test kit. This story is a great example of how working with the AWS platform and AWS partner has given a customer the ability to innovate at a much faster clip than they would have been able to do on their own. Our customers have always told us that the number one reason why they move to the cloud is the speed and agility it gives them. And that is why we've continued to innovate faster than any other cloud provider. We want to make sure our customers and partners have access to the broadest and the deepest set of services. Having the right tool for the right job matters. This allows builders to build and innovate faster. And one group of builders who have really leveraged the breadth and depth of the AWS platform are ISVs and SaaS providers. There are many ways in which the AWS platform help ISVs and SaaS providers. Let me highlight a few. ISVs and SaaS providers are integrating AWS services with their solutions to accelerate the delivery of new capabilities to their customers. For example, Tableau, Sisense, Domo, Qlik have all integrated SageMaker Autopilot to put predictive analytics capabilities in the hands of business analysts who have no or little experience with data science. Partners can easily enhance and differentiate their solutions using just a few APIs from AWS. Delivering a service rather than shipping software is different. It requires a new approach to application development, testing, and delivery. ISVs and SaaS providers are using AWS services like EKS and other container services to modernize their processes. A good example here is Snowflake, who is using EKS to run millions of simulations across different scenarios, configurations, to quickly catch defects and build more resilience into their service. Let me highlight one more. Enterprise customers want to unshackle themselves from the rigid, expensive, and brittle monolithic IT stack, like Oracle, for example. Enterprises want to use best-of-breed solutions that meet their needs. Solutions from AWS partners like Okta, Atlassian, PagerDuty, CrowdStrike, Slack, and Zoom. These now make up the new best-of-breed cloud IT stack for modern enterprises. And as enterprises use more SaaS applications, interoperability and integration are critical. Without them, enterprises will be left with siloed data, fragmented workflows, and security gaps. By leveraging AWS services like EventBridge, AppFlow, PrivateLink, SaaS providers can easily offer more security, flexibility, and data integration opportunities for their solutions to the enterprises that use them. This is super important for driving enterprise adoption of SaaS applications. I believe ISVs and SaaS providers who know how to leverage the AWS platform to its fullest have a competitive advantage. For example, knowing how to launch SaaS applications faster with more security and resilience, that's a key advantage. So, to help our partners acquire this advantage, we launched the AWS SaaS Factory program back in 2017. Our SaaS Factory team provides ISVs with a broad range of technical enablement for building and migrating SaaS on AWS. Our team also provides business enablement to help ISVs think through the new SaaS business model and operating model elements like on-demand pricing, billing and metering, SLAs, and provisioning technical support. One partner that the SaaS Factory team worked closely with to build a new solution is Cohesity. Cohesity is one of the leading providers of data backup and management solutions. I'd like to ask Mohit Aron, co-founder and CEO, to share more details about our journey together.
Thank you, Doug. I am thrilled to be here and to announce Data Management as a Service, which is a collaborative effort between Cohesity and AWS with lots of help from AWS. Some of you may not know Cohesity. We do data management for some of the biggest enterprises in the world. Here's a look at your infrastructure. We have some remote offices, some data centers, and some cloud platforms. The problem is that your enterprise data is fragmented across this whole environment. We refer to this problem as the problem of mass data fragmentation. The result of this is that you're juggling multiple vendors. It's very inefficient with lots and lots of copies throughout your infrastructure. And your data is dark, which means it's very hard to extract insights from this data. We radically simplify enterprise data management, and we unlock limitless value from that enterprise data. Let's talk about how. We start with just enterprise backups. This slide shows a legacy enterprise backup environment. Our customers have to go buy backup software from one vendor. Then they have to go buy media servers, master servers, proxy servers from more vendors on which to run that backup software. Then they need to go buy target storage from yet another vendor on which to put the backup data. And if they need to throw some data in the cloud, they need a cloud backup product. So this is how complicated legacy enterprise backups are. So what we do is that we have built a hyperscale software platform, both for on-premises, shown on the left, as well as for the cloud, shown on the right. And as a first step, we eliminate that complicated enterprise backup platform in the legacy world and consolidate all of that on Cohesity. And once we've simplified our customers' backup environment in this way, we start looking at what else can we do. Well, our customers have file and object needs. They have archival needs for long-term data retention. They have dev test needs, and they have some analytics needs. And all of those workloads today are being run in different silos from different vendors. So as next steps, one by one, we take them and consolidate them on the same Cohesity platform. And now we've tremendously simplified what our customers have on premises on the left, as well as on the cloud in the right. But we don't want our customers managing multiple environments. So we put a level of manageability on top. This is our single UI that runs as a SaaS service on AWS. And through that, we make it all look like one logical platform. And all the complexity is hidden behind our UI. We call this platform Helios. This is our data platform. But we want to even bring more options to our customers. How about they don't even have to manage any infrastructure? How about we run Cohesity software in the cloud on AWS, and Cohesity manages that in collaboration with AWS? So I'd like to announce Data Management as a Service today. Very thrilled to announce this in collaboration with AWS. But that begs the question, why AWS? Well, first of all, both of us are obsessed about our customers. We already have 400 plus joint customers. And this is where I'd like to talk about our collaboration with the SaaS factory team at AWS. They've helped us transform not only our product, but also our business model. On the product side, they've helped us take our enterprise-grade product, refactor it, and run it as a SaaS service in the cloud. They've helped us refine the experience that customers get from this SaaS service. On the business model side, they've helped us with running transactions on the Amazon Marketplace, doing metering and billing, with consumption-based pricing. And we both have a shared vision on the next chapter in data management. So let's talk about the first feature or the first offering we have released within DMaaS, which is, by the way, a set of offerings. And that first offering is our Data Protect, or our backup software running as a service on AWS. It protects both on-premises and cloud workloads. All our customers have to do is sign up, connect, and protect. And that's available right now, immediately. Let's now talk about the second offering, and that is Site Continuity feature of Cohesity, which is disaster recovery as a service on AWS that provides for failovers across on-premises and the cloud. Our customers don't even need a secondary data center anymore. They can take their primary data center and fill it over to the cloud, or vice versa. And this is going to be available in early 2021. So what's next? We're not going to stop here. We've already been using lots of services from AWS, like Amazon S3, Amazon EBS, but now we are going to do some integration with some of their advanced services like Amazon Macie, Amazon SageMaker, Amazon Redshift, AWS Glue, and perhaps as the first offering, we'll come up with compliance as a service. Imagine the power of identifying and tagging sensitive data, creating compliance reports, cloning and masking data for dev test. Beyond that, how about e-discovery, legal holes, data analytics, training AI models, all of those available as a service within that DMaaS set of offerings. So to wrap up, I am thrilled to announce Data Management as a Service, which is a collaborative effort between Cohesity and AWS with lots of help from AWS. We'll start with backup as a service, then go on to release disaster recovery as a service, and then many more. With that, thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Mohit. For me, this is the beauty of a successful partnership. Seeing our teams innovating together to deliver a solution that our joint customers have been asking for. Cohesity is just one of many ISVs who have leveraged the AWS SaaS Factory program to transform their applications. Other companies include BMC, CloudZero, F5, and NASDAQ. NASDAQ is interesting here because they aren't your typical ISV. NASDAQ has been a long-time enterprise customer of AWS, so they understand the power of cloud computing very well. They successfully leveraged the AWS platform to innovate the way they deliver solutions to their customers globally. NASDAQ represents an important trend where enterprises are increasingly becoming SaaS providers. We've seen an increase in demand for SaaS Factory program from enterprises like NASDAQ and other ISVs. In order to manage this demand, we realized we needed to scale how we help. So first, we launched the AWS SaaS competency earlier this year. This competency recognizes AWS consulting partners that have deep experience helping companies build SaaS and cloud-native solutions on AWS. We now have 27 consulting partners who have attained this competency. Partners such as Mission Cloud in North America, iTalk in APAC, and All Cloud in EMEA are all helping customers build the right foundations required to either migrate or build SaaS solutions successfully on AWS. But we didn't want to stop here. We set out to develop a solution that would allow all customers and developers to quickly build SaaS applications on their own. We want to provide a self-service model. Today, we're launching AWS SaaS Boost, a free open source SaaS reference environment to help customers with traditional web applications modernize and operate their applications in a SaaS delivery model. The SaaS Factory team has taken its experience from hundreds of partner engagements to build a prescriptive framework and set of tools to minimize the undifferentiated heavy lifting of launching a SaaS application. Tools include Application Configurator, Multi-Tenant Manager, Analytics and Metrics Dashboard, and Admin and User Management UI for onboarding customers. The open source nature of this code can be adopted as is, or a developer may choose to modify it to fit their own requirements. I'm really excited to see how SaaS Boost will be used by ISVs to accelerate their application development. It's really gratifying for all of us at AWS to see that the support we're providing our ISV partners is leading to higher business growth. Higher growth is what our partners ultimately want. And this is where we can really help. Our ISV partners want access to the millions of active customers using AWS. They're asking AWS sales teams to help with co-selling. For the past few years, we've been working really hard to make this happen through our ISV Accelerate program. For partners who participate in this program, we provide prioritized access to AWS co-sell support teams who facilitate the overall co-selling motion, connecting AWS sellers with our partner sellers. We provide financial incentives. These are special incentives to AWS sellers for supporting these partners with co-selling. We also provide opportunities for these partners to educate AWS sellers on their value proposition. These are some of the co-selling activities that are leading to significant uplift in many of our ISVs' business growth. Recently, AppDynamics shared with us that when their sellers receive co-selling support from AWS, they're able to achieve an 11% higher deal close rate. And their average deal size, it's 2.5 times larger. We will continue to invest significantly here to continue moving the needle for our ISV partners. When you combine the best platform and the co-selling support that we provide, this leads to lots of new and diverse types of ISVs joining the AWS Partner Network. Over the years, we've listened carefully to this diverse group of ISV partners to build different programs that they told us that they needed. Our ISV partners have been able to drive strong business results leveraging these programs. As we continue to look for ways to provide more ways to add more value, we saw an opportunity to be more prescriptive to help our ISV partners achieve their desired business outcomes faster. That's why I'm excited to announce the launch of AWS ISV Partner Path, which makes it easier for ISVs and SaaS providers to access tailored programs and benefits. Based on their business objectives, they will gain immediate access to most relevant programs and benefits, such as sandbox credits for product development, opportunity acceleration funding, and access to AWS sales, marketing, and partner team resources, all without needing to meet tier-based requirements. While with ISV Partner Path, we're moving away from badging a partner as select or advanced using tier requirements, and instead, we'll start badging individual solutions from our partners. We recognize that many ISVs have multiple solutions, and we've heard from our customers that they want AWS to focus on each solution and ensure it runs well on AWS. We believe our new approach aligns well with how ISVs go to market and how our customers want to buy. Another really important benefit of ISV Partner Path is that we will now be able to support AWS consulting partners who are increasingly going to market with their own solutions. They will be able to access all of the programs and benefits just like ISV partners. Starting in January, all existing AWS technology partners with software solutions that run on or are integrated with AWS will be transitioned to the AWS ISV Partner Path. And consulting partners with solutions can also sign up to the ISV Partner Path without impacting their AWS consulting partner tier status. I'm excited about the ISV Partner Path as I think it will really simplify the overall partner experience and, more importantly, accelerate the time to value for our partners who want to engage AWS. One AWS service that has accelerated time to value for ISV partners is AWS Marketplace. Marketplace has become an important channel for customers to procure solutions from AWS partners. We continue to add additional capabilities to help both our customers and our partners. And joining me today is Dave McCann to share more details about Marketplace.
Good morning. My name is Dave McCann, and it's a pleasure to be talking to you again. In the next few minutes, I want to give you an update on how our customers are modernizing their application portfolio. So, together, working with consulting partners and ISVs, we help our customers, the large enterprise, the small and medium enterprise, essentially transform, modernize, and govern their application portfolio. And most companies have built up that application portfolio over many years. And now, as they contemplate the move to the cloud, there's a lot of modernization and there are a lot of choices to be made. And that choice involves not only how to deploy that software, whether it's across containers or implementing in Lambda serverless or consuming software as a service from many of the software as a service providers, but also bringing in professional services advice and migration services from consulting partners. So there's a lot of choice on the journey of modernizing the application. What we have learned is there's tremendous opportunity to rationalize the application portfolio, retire old applications and save money, and move to far more modern applications that increase worker productivity, flexibility for things like working from home, and greater analytics of data. Let's talk about some of the patterns that we're seeing in the last year. A key pattern that we've observed, and Marketplace now supplies software from across over 50 different categories, is there are really 4 different buying motions going on inside companies. On the one level, the application themselves have to be looked at by the CIO to determine which applications are maintained, retired, or completely rewritten. And that's an application level decision. As that decision is made, the security posture of network, endpoint, database, threat detection has to be considered. And so right now, most companies are also spending substantial amounts of money modernizing their security systems. Not only are they modernizing security, but as they move on to the cloud, we observe modernization across network, identity, storage, DevOps tools, spend management, a whole series of software categories, disaster recovery and backup. And so there's a set of modernization decisions on vendors in the infrastructure space. And finally, during all of this, companies are actually trying to analyze the data they have in a more modern way, constructing data lakes and looking for machine learning to be applied to the data. And the back office teams that make all of this possible, procurement, IT, legal, are having to work in a consistent manner. And this is where Marketplace as an automation service plays a key role. We've had tremendous momentum in the last year. We're pleased to say we have now over 300,000 active buyers around the world. And those 300,000 active buyers around the world are subscribing to more and more software, where we can see large companies subscribing to dozens of products and hundreds of subscriptions. And now that we've launched private offers, which is the ability for buyers to negotiate terms, both payment and contractual, we're seeing thousands of organizations subscribe to private offers from hundreds of software companies. But we're also continuing to expand the choice. And today I'm pleased to announce we have over 200 new ISVs in Marketplace. And I can't cover all 200. But I can point to some of the leading ISVs with strong brand in particular domains, such as Infor in the business application space, Aptio in the spend management IT business management space, Cohesity, who we've just heard from earlier, who obviously specialize in the disaster recovery and backup space, Okta, a market leader in identity, and Confluent with their managed Kafka service, Confluent Cloud, that runs on AWS. And all of these software vendors are now available in Marketplace today. Now, every year we announce new innovations that are tools for both the customer and for you, the consulting partner, or as an ISV, to further automate how we transform a customer's software consumption. The first announcement I want to make today is what we call managed entitlements for Marketplace. What that means is that until now, we've enabled customers to contract and buy the software, but subsequent to procurement and provisioning, other functions in the company need to track where those assets are, which departments they're used by, and have very often used other third-party tools that are not well integrated for cloud. Today, we've integrated Marketplace with AWS License Manager, making it possible and easy for customers to share contracted software across account. And if ISVs work with us, to also enable the ISV to allow you to track software that you may be running on-premise from the same ISV. So the entitlement and tracking is automated both for AWS and on-premise. And we're working with software companies like N2W, and we've been piloting it with customers like Pearson, who are actually testing it already. And this is now available today. Now, on top of entitlement tracking, a lot of our customers want to prescribe to the developers the very specific approved vendors and approved products. And 2 years ago, we launched Private Marketplace. Today, I'm pleased to announce we've turned Private Marketplace into a set of APIs. This makes it a lot easier for the customer to actually govern and automate specific vendors into the private marketplace. And for consulting firms who are becoming managed service providers and perhaps managing services for many customers, private marketplace APIs allow a consulting partner to set up the vendors in a private marketplace that consulting partner may be operating on behalf of the customer. Also available today. Now, after customers buy and provision software, software gets configured in conjunction with other software, very often homegrown, Lambda functions, resource or infrastructure defined as resource. That is described together in JSON CloudFormation, and we've made that easier today with the announcement of something called Service Catalog App Registry. App Registry is a new methodology and function sitting on the Service Catalog API that allows the customer to describe all the resources that belong to an application. This improves observability and manageability of all resources associated to the application. And I'm pleased to say we're already working with leading software companies like Apptio, AppDynamics, Cutover, and New Relic to improve the management of resources by integrating their tools with Service Catalog App Registry. Now, on top of entitlements and App Registry, many of our customers not only consume and provision software during the cloud transition, they actually also buy in professional services advice from firms expert in the particular software domain. So software very often comes with professional services. And until now, we've asked the customer to subscribe for the software and then separately outside of Marketplace to subscribe for the professional services. And I'm pleased to say today that Marketplace is releasing support for professional services as an offer type in the Marketplace service. And what this means is that a corporation or a government entity can contract both for the software and for the services associated with the implementation of that software, and both can be done through the mechanism that is AWS Marketplace. We've worked with a number of launch partners, and I'm pleased to say we have over 100 providers of professional services launching today in Marketplace worldwide, including top software consulting partners and resellers around the world, such as Computer Center in EMEA, Rackspace in North America, GuidePoint. So this capability to quote and to provision and to bill software along with the professional services takes some of the friction out of the customer consumption and makes it easier for customers to innovate faster in a consistent way. And I'd like to have a chat now with two key partners, Presidio, a major consulting partner in North America, and also with Okta, a Silicon Valley leader in identity services. So I'm going to be talking with Bob Cagnazzi and Frederick Kerris. Bob, great to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Dave.
And Frederick from San Francisco, nice to see you.
Thanks a lot for having me, Dave. Thrilled to be here.
Guys, it's great to have you both, and courtesy of our remote virtual event that we can pull off here today. So thank you for your time. Bob, first of all, as a leader of a major services provider operating in the US, give me your perspective on the value to your business model and to your customers on the ability to quote and deliver both professional services and leading software like Okta via AWS Marketplace to your customers.
Yeah, I think it's a game changer for us. I think it's a game changer for our clients, Dave. As you know, we are a full lifecycle services provider of secure cloud solutions to over 7,000 clients across multiple verticals. And now our ability to put our professional services on AWS Marketplace, where we can quote customers on a full AWS end-to-end solution, including the software from top vendors like Okta and our professional services, it really makes it super easy for clients to consume and innovate very, very, very quickly. And it makes the AWS Marketplace even more compelling for us and for our clients. And we have multiple ISVs that we work with, the latest one being Okta that we signed up earlier this year and we're really excited about. As you know, and Frederick will explain, it's Okta simplifies single sign-on for companies that may have dozens or hundreds of SaaS providers. And we see customers looking to modernize their networks, and as you pointed out earlier, to integrate identity, security, and network solutions into a DevSecOps model. So being able now to quote not only the software, but our professional services in Marketplace further helps us automate right into the customer's larger and larger AWS footprint. And it's going to mean, I think, faster time to contracts. And in our view, it exemplifies how everything is moving to really cloud-based workflows.
Yeah, we really appreciate the work you've done with us to design how services get delivered to the customer, and that design work is much appreciated. You know, Frederic, welcome to AWS Marketplace. You know, a fast-growing leader in identity services out of Silicon Valley. You're founder of the company. You're now the COO and chairman. Give me an example of how you see the value of Marketplace in your partnership with Presidio and how you deliver to customers.
Yeah, Dave, well, great to be here with you and Bob as well. Thanks again for having me. Look, Okta and AWS have actually been working together since our earliest days because we actually started the company in 2009 and based it on the AWS service way back when, which it still is today. Look, we've all watched the cloud become more and more critical for enterprises, and with that has come an exponential need for a modern identity system that enables the kind of rapid migration and digital transformation that I think every organization is trying to do today. There's a complementary set of benefits between what the Okta Identity Cloud can deliver and the broad set of services, obviously, and tools that AWS offers, whether it's secure access to applications, provisioning AWS services, or moving further down the stack to infrastructure access management for EC2 servers. We're also growing very quickly in the customer identity market, offering secure, seamless customer experiences for applications that are built on AWS. For a partner like Presidio, using the Okta Identity Cloud to solve identity challenges that come with broader migration and security solutions is an ideal fit. We love working with Presidio. Presidio makes for a great partner for us, where our joint customers can rely on their great team of engineers, consultants, and support staff to navigate their particular technology opportunities, leveraging the Okta platform. Given what AWS Marketplace can offer between strong technology overlaps and partnering possibilities with awesome professional services shops like Presidio, it's clear to us how valuable being part of the AWS Marketplace will be for our joint customers.
Yeah, we're delighted to have you bring your offering integrated into Marketplace. You know, let me ask both of you just briefly, not only do customers in our observation want to contract and have you provision the software now in their accounts, we see a rising pattern where customers want an ongoing managed service experience. Frederic, what's your perspective on this MSP model?
Absolutely. Look, I think the secular trends around cloud adoption, the increased importance of zero trust, and the need to digitally reimagine basically every business out there, they're all driving new ways of deploying and managing technology. We see identity sitting right at the center of these trends, but we're certainly not alone. And I think moving forward, we see the potential for enterprises to seek out help managing the complexity that comes with some of these broad and far-reaching projects. We're thrilled that we can work alongside AWS and Presidio to make our customers more successful.
Bob, what's your perspective on this demand for managed service?
Yeah, we're seeing it in our clients as well. You know, the monthly subscription model matches how they're consuming AWS, how they're consuming software, and I think the ability for us to drive real value very, very quickly is a benefit to our clients. Now, there's a lot of innovation that folks can get from AWS and people like Okta through AWS Marketplace and through Presidio. But there's, I think, a real time to market in terms of how quickly they can adopt that and integrate that in. And one of the offerings we've got around our managed services for AWS is a just-in-time expertise in a very cost-effective managed services offering that helps clients take advantage of those innovations and capture that value. We all know that none of the clients really want to be in the IT business any longer, right? What they want to do is they want to drive business outcomes that create growth and profitability and then pass off that operational risk to an expert managed services provider like Presidio.
So thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
And Frederic, for your time today.
Thank you.
You know, in conclusion, we've launched a set of capabilities today that just further make it possible for us to help customers transform, modernize, and govern the application portfolio as enterprises modernize the supply chain and move their applications onto the AWS cloud. Thank you.
Please welcome the VP of Worldwide Public Sector Partners and Programs at Amazon Web Services, Sandy Carter.
Well, hello, partners. I am so excited to be here virtually. And I am going to go with this video view, I think. I know we've all been on virtual meetings a lot. I'm wearing my signature pink, and it's in honor of all of our partners because pink is the color of hope and unity. I really want to give a heartfelt thank you to our partners. I hope that you're staying safe, and healthy. Now, I know you guys know me, and you know that I love quotes. So for today's theme, I really thought this quote was perfect. It's from Helen Keller, and it says, "Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much." And even though we are virtual, together is so very important, because together we can move faster, we can scale further, we can think bigger, and we can grow. Now, at AWS, we really prioritize listening to you, our customers and our partners, and we work backwards from there to help you grow. Now, as part of this commitment, I really wanted to fly all over the world in person and meet with you. But because we're virtual, I did a virtual tour of 100 partners in 100 days. And I developed an even stronger sense of your purpose and your business. Purpose, like how Axle 3D's models have helped Belfast City Hospital perform kidney transplants even faster and save lives in Northern Ireland. And I learned more about your business and what will help you differentiate yourselves and deepen your specializations. And so from that learning, I wanted to talk to you about how AWS can enable you to differentiate yourselves in 3 core areas. So the first are programs to help you build, market, and sell your services. The second are solutions, and I know you guys love solutions because it helps you achieve better business and mission outcomes. And then, of course, competencies. Because as we look at competencies, competencies help you really showcase your specialty. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with number 1, which is around our program area. So whether you're starting to build your own AWS-based business or just expand it, there are so many AWS programs that can help you succeed and grow. We've heard about some of them today, but on that 100-day tour, I heard precisely what you were looking for: expanded access to funding, technical enablement, more engagement with customers, go-to-market opportunities, and so much more. So hopefully you're seeing through a lot of the announcements that both Doug and Dave made today that we have listened and worked backwards from your needs. So what I'd like to do now, as Doug showed a lot of the ISV programs, I wanted to share with you some of the programs specifically for our consulting partners. Now, I won't get to go through all of these programs, of course, but I do want to highlight one of these programs in particular. It's the last one on that list, called ATO, or Authority to Operate. Now, Authority to Operate for AWS has a lot of values. For our technology partners, it really reduces your time to compliance by providing you best practices. Now, for our consulting partners, you get access to all of those authorized third-party technologies. And you can take our best practices and start your own ATO program. So this means that you can use our proven architectures, our artifacts, our templates, and help you deliver customer solutions even faster. Now, one of the authorizations I really wanted to dive deep on is FedRAMP, because that's where we first started our ATO program. Now, FedRAMP, if you don't know, it's a US government-wide program, and it offers a standardized approach to security assessment and authorization. And today, I am pleased to let you know that our ATO on AWS program has helped to drive 3 times more FedRAMP authorized solutions than Azure and Google combined. That's a total of 129 solutions. So if you're considering starting a practice in public sector, and I hope you are, please reach out to us on how we can help you reduce that time to compliance. Now, FedRAMP is just one of those frameworks on ATO for AWS. We also wanted to work backwards from our customers. So here are some of the other frameworks, and I'll just focus on two of those. One of those is healthcare, of course, increasingly important during the pandemic. And we know that your customers need support for HIPAA and HITRUST. And then, of course, so many international partners out there. I talk to partners in over 68 countries, and I know that GDPR, that strengthens and unifies that data protection law, is so important. So if you're a partner and you're thinking about compliance in an industry, we have a way that we can help you. So reach out to us for that help. Okay, so we talked about some of the programs that can help you gain access to all the things you told us you needed: funding, marketing support, sales support. Now let's talk a little bit about our number 2 on the list, which is around solutions. Now, I am really excited about our solution push, especially because as we together build solutions to meet our customers' needs, we combine those collective capabilities and we offer more value to our customers. Now, our consulting partners bring forward innovative solutions every day. And so I am so excited today to honor and recognize our premier consulting partners. Now, these are partners who continue to differentiate themselves. They deliver great outcomes for their customers, and as a result, they're accelerating their business on AWS. So thank you to our premier consulting partners. We now have over 114 partners out of the tens of thousands of partners out there, and these are the most experienced partners and are recognized as leaders in their respective markets. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, are there any new premier partners? And the answer is yes. I would like you to join me in congratulating our 10 new 2020 premier consulting partners. Now, these 10 partner organizations like North Bay and SoftServe are just some of the latest to receive this premier designation. Now, these consulting partners are really growing their business through solutions. So let's talk a little bit about this second priority of solutions. Now, solutions require teams to use a customer-led approach, not a technology-led approach, to solve a customer's problem. We heard Andy talk about this on day 1. Now, solutions enable you to pinpoint the right mix of technologies like artificial intelligence, IoT, security, and others beyond just compute and storage. It's all part of our customer obsession mentality. And in turn, it helps you create that all-important flywheel effect. So I really want to show you a couple of examples of how our partners are growing their business through solutions. And I'm going to start first with cybersecurity. Now, a global study from VMware's Carbon Black showed that 91% of enterprises reported an increase in cyber attacks during the pandemic. And according to Forrester, enterprises will spend $12.6 billion on cloud security tools by 2023. And you know that security is a major focus for us as well. It's ingrained in everything that we do. So organizations are shifting to the security by design approach, which means they integrate DevOps and security. So you can see some of our partners on the chart: Anishan, Deloitte, CloudHesive, StackArmor, Coldfire, and Infusion Points, who are now creating pre-configured solutions so that they can help migrate applications and enforce that security by design. Okay, I want to give you one more example of how our partners are expanding their business through solutions. I'm going to turn now to ERP. In addition to continuing to help our customers address SAP's 2027 deadline for transforming to S/4HANA, AWS and our partners are accelerating innovation of those SAP customers. So we're seeing customers and partners turn to AWS as their platform of innovation to get more from those SAP investments. So let me give you a couple of examples. Accenture. Accenture has a solution called the Data Lake Accelerator that allows customers to automate that data lake implementation and greatly accelerate their timeline to completion. Or let's move on to Deloitte. Deloitte has a great solution called the Kinetic Finance Startup Offering, and it's a highly automated AI embedded solution for SAP S/4HANA. And then, of course, last but not least, is IBM. We also support solutions like SAP's next generation tolling solution. IBM delivered this solution, which is a managed cloud solution, leveraging SAP's NS2 Secure HANA Cloud on AWS. Now, all of these partners we've talked about have expanded their businesses through solutions. And if we want to stay on SAP for a second, we do have a great way that you can accelerate these SAP migrations. Now, I hope that you've heard about MAP, our Migration Acceleration Program. And that program, 2.0, was made for you, our partners. So what it does is it provides funding at the assess stage, the mobilize stage, and then the migrate and modernize stage that Dave talked about. Now, we also offer MAP that is very specific to certain workloads. So let's go back to SAP. So we have a MAP program that's dedicated to supporting SAP workloads. Now, today we have 28 MAP for SAP partners who support customers all over the world. And if you're interested in leveraging MAP or MAP for SAP, make sure you reach out to us again, as we can really help you out. Okay, so far you've seen how programs can help you. And then we moved on to solutions that help you expand your business. Now let's move on to area number 3, which is about competencies and helping you recognize that specialization. So our customers seek out partners who've developed deep expertise and skills with use cases, industries, and workloads. And AWS has created a wide range of competencies here. And they include things like industries, retail and healthcare, use cases, Internet of Things or machine learning security, and those workloads on AWS, Microsoft, SAP, and Oracle. Now, partners with competencies meet a high bar, and one of those competencies is migration. So migration is really important because it's the first step in transforming to a cloud-based business, and it's happening at a faster and faster rate. And it's worth noting that thousands of customers and 350,000 databases have already migrated over to AWS. And guess what? AWS has a competency for that. It's called the Migration Competency. It's available for partners who've established that AWS migration practice and demonstrated customer success. But of course, not all migrations are the same. The technology stack can change that strategy and approach. According to share.org, mainframes run 30 billion transactions a day. So given the importance of mainframes, today we are pre-announcing that we will launch the Mainframe Migration Competency for consulting partners and our technology partners in 2021. To qualify for this competency, you have to demonstrate your expertise and your experience in migrating mainframe applications. And you can already see that we have some consulting partners and technology partners that are well on their way. Okay, so from migration, we're going to head over to mission, to the bottom line, which is we can help you on all vectors. So one of the most talked about competencies last year was our public safety and disaster response competency for consulting partners. In fact, it was the 25th announced competency partner program, and it helped customers create safer and more resilient communities. Now, I know you guys are always interested in the value of competency, so let me show you one example. This is our partner, Maxar, and their customer, Team Rubicon. Now, leveraging the competency, Maxar provided Team Rubicon access to secure watch platform that was hosted on AWS so that volunteers could use that pre-event satellite imaging in their disaster response efforts. Now, Team Rubicon unites the skills and experience of military veterans with first responders, and that helps them to deploy those first response teams in natural disasters like Hurricane Laura last August. Now, given the vital importance of this competency, we've set out to give more partners access to the same resources. And so this year, we are expanding this for our technology partners to public safety and disaster response. We have 16 AWS technology competencies like Here Technology and Unleash Live, and they've demonstrated technical capabilities with proven success. They've worked together with governments, first responders, police departments, disaster response teams, and they've leveraged their trusted solution in each phase of that disaster: prepare, respond, and recover. Now, we prioritize our competency launches based on customer needs, working backwards from that customer. And that brings us to energy. Energy companies around the world are accelerating their technology adoption to help them reduce capital and operating expenses and to minimize their carbon footprints. They are seeking out highly specialized companies to help them do this. So today, we are excited to pre-announce the AWS Energy Competency targeted for launch in 2021. Now, this new competency will feature best-in-class consulting and technology partners, and it includes geophysical and reservoir analysis, production operations, pipeline operations, optimization of solar and wind, and so much more. Now, another industry preparing for long-term transformation is travel and hospitality. I think this is a great example because travel and hospitality has been hit really hard by COVID-19. And we are keenly aware of this, but yet remain customer-focused and long-term oriented, part of our Amazon leadership principles. There are so many challenges that can only be addressed by technology and transformation. IDC's Future of Industry report showed that 59% of companies in travel and hospitality will have a higher IT spend in 2021 than expected. They'll move from 35% in 2020 to almost 50% in 2021. Accordingly, today, we are announcing the AWS Travel and Hospitality Competency with 27 partners from around the world. Now, this competency helps customers confidently identify and choose the most experienced ISVs and consulting partners. And the competency takes the heavy lifting of identifying and validating industry leaders with proven customer success and technology efficiency. Okay, so now let's put this all together and let me bring the partners, the customers, and the value that the competencies brings to our customers. Next, you're going to hear from Southwest Airlines, who is one of our customers and a customer of Anika, a partner, a rack space technology company. They are also a managed service provider who has differentiated themselves. They have 15 different AWS competencies. So with support of Anika and other AWS partners, Southwest Airlines has taken a bold and optimistic approach to reinventing itself, becoming more resilient in that process. So here to share more is Lauren Woods, Managing Director of Technology Platforms for Southwest Airlines.
Thanks, Sandy. I'm really happy to join you today to talk about Southwest Airlines' journey to the cloud and how we're working with AWS and AWS partners to help us navigate the turbulence of these challenging times for our industry. If you've ever taken a flight on Southwest, you know we're an airline with a unique personality. You see it reflected in the way we do business and the way we fly, but you especially see it in our people. Southwest Airlines employees have welcomed, served, and appreciated our customers with heart for half a century. Our purpose is to connect people to what's important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost air travel. Southwest Airlines started in 1971 as a scrappy little airline with just 4 aircraft serving 3 cities. We called it the Texas Triangle. But today, after revolutionizing the industry with low fares and friendly service, Southwest is the largest carrier in the United States based on originating passengers and employs more than 58,000 people. In 2019, we flew 134 million customers on nearly 1.4 million flights, and we were ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates. Fortune has consistently recognized us as one of the world's most admired companies. And in 2019, we recorded a profit for our 47th consecutive year, an unparalleled feat in the airline industry. And then came 2020, a year of global pandemic and unprecedented downturn. This is by far the most challenging time that Southwest Airlines has faced, but we're not shrinking from this challenge. Instead, we see it as an opportunity to improve our technical health and emerge stronger at the end. Our goal isn't just to survive. Our people are busy building the technology and applications we need to thrive. Like I said, we have a history of being scrappy and resilient. To understand our cloud journey, it's important to understand that Southwest does not fly like any other airline. With over 4,000 flights a day throughout 2019, we utilize a full point-to-point network, making our operational data complicated and unique. So it's no surprise that our technology applications and infrastructure grew in the same scrappy, organic fashion as the rest of the company. We were used to building our own special capabilities and applications to meet our unique needs. Although Southwest was leading the market with our on-time performance and incredible customer satisfaction, we also had critical applications that were increasingly inflexible and could not change to meet our customers' needs. Our scrappy collection of applications was starting to feel like technical debt. We needed to make a move to the cloud to take advantage of the transformational benefits. But unlike a lot of enterprise businesses, we didn't start with a data center migration. Instead, we were looking to create a new development and delivery platform for our complex application ecosystems. AWS gave us the right architecture with the services, availability, uptime, regions, and recoverability we needed. It also offered an impressive community of AWS professionals, developers, and partners we were going to need to be successful. Finding the right partner to complement our culture with an adaptable approach was especially important to us because we weren't just looking for somebody to do the work for us. We wanted partners that had deep skills in the AWS platform and could help us reskill our people to modernize our applications. And we found that in Anika. We rallied our efforts around re-architecting OpsSuite, a major application that had been plagued with cold starts, manual deployments, and static infrastructure. Working with Anika, we learned to utilize Amazon Elastic Kubernetes service to support the scheduling of flights, assignments of our gates, the productivity of our turns, and the optimization of our network. We used to require large teams to deploy new features and updates overnight on a monthly or even quarterly basis. Now Southwest can test and deploy updates multiple times a week, during the day and at a fraction of the cost. We used Amazon EKS to automatically roll deployments utilizing health checks and can automatically roll back to previous versions if there's any issues. It makes deployments safer and entirely automated. As weather, maintenance, crews, and other flights impact departure and arrival times, Southwest and its customers now have access to the most accurate information faster than ever before. Following our success with OpsSuite, we started several other projects and began to expand our AWS footprint. In addition to Anika, we engaged with other great AWS partners, utilizing their specialization and expertise to continue to learn and grow our own AWS experience. We took on our Crew ecosystem, a suite of applications struggling with a large amount of technical debt used for scheduling and day of operations of our pilots, flight attendants, and crew schedulers. Working with AWS professional services, we learned to work with the native database service of Amazon Aurora, The performance and scalability allowed us to leave behind more expensive technologies. But we didn't stop there. We continued to learn by building our very first cloud-native data lake, utilizing AWS Lake Formation, Amazon Simple Storage Service, and AWS Glue and Amazon Athena. Now we work with NASA and air traffic control on accurately predicting off-block time and gate arrival time, and can make better decisions on departure routings and gate assignments, resulting in significant cost savings. Southwest took all this great learning and created standards and design patterns called the Southwest Cloud Common Platform. These are easily consumable modules to encourage consistency across applications. We now help deliver the fundamentals of AWS to enable applications to focus on high-value, differentiated development. Using the Southwest Cloud Common Platform, we took a team of Southwest cohorts with zero experience in cloud technologies and built an application from scratch, a mission-critical, scalable, cloud-native solution in 6 months at Southwest scale. And we did it while our teams were all working remotely due to the pandemic. The low-fare marketing automation application allows us to send our customers the lowest available fare in a personalized way while still meeting our Department of Transportation regulatory requirements. It has exceeded our business expectations and will be highly used to help us weather the current challenges we face. With the expertise and best practices we've learned from working with AWS partners, Southwest is more efficient, more technically advanced, and more capable to take on new opportunities as they emerge. Southwest Airlines has every reason to be optimistic. We have the best people, the highest rated service, incredibly loyal customers, and we now have a powerful technology foundation with the breadth and depth of resources needed to fight our way through this. Even as Southwest has grown, we have never lost that scrappy, resilient spirit. I'm confident that with the support of AWS and our AWS partners, and especially the heart of our people, we will emerge from this storm of challenging times stronger than ever before.
Thanks, Lauren. It's really inspiring to hear how Southwest Airlines is working with AWS partners who go beyond execution and are helping to train and coach teams at Southwest on their cloud journey. As our business has evolved, so have the needs and expectations of our customers. Joining us today to share more about the role AWS partners can play in helping our customers reinvent themselves and innovate for the future is AWS CEO Andy Jassy. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm great. It's good to see you, Doug.
How's reInvent?
Yep.
How's reInvent?
reInvent's been great so far. Different, you know, it's just unusual. This time of year, we've been doing it for so long, 9 years. We've been conditioned to feel like this is that week that you're, you know, in Las Vegas with a lot of our customers. But I think that so far people seem excited about the things that we've announced and about the events. And while we can't all be together, I think the fact that people can participate virtually and for free has meant a lot more people have been involved in all the different events we've done. So far, so good.
Great. I'm hearing great feedback from partners about the event so far. So
good.
But you know, this year has been quite challenging, and you know, it's given us an opportunity to learn and grow as we navigate through the changes. And I want to ask you, you know, what have you learned from all the challenges that we've had this year?
Well, it's a year like none other, I think, in our lives, and totally crazy. And I wouldn't wish it on any of us again. And I'm hopeful that 2021 will be a better year. You know, I think that if I look at what I think we've learned as a group here, virtually every company that we know of has tried to figure out a way to save money in the last 9 months, including Amazon, by the way. And we have spent a good amount of our time over the last 9 months, particularly in our field, trying to help customers save money. And I think one of the things we always talk about as one of the benefits of using the cloud is the elasticity you get. And you provision what you need. If it turns out you need more, you seamlessly scale up. And then if you reach a peak, you can give it back to us and stop paying for it. I'm not sure we ever thought of the peak as a pandemic, but I think that elasticity that you get in the cloud has been incredibly helpful to those who were in the cloud before the pandemic hit, in that they were able to give back a bunch of capacity and save money at a time that was really important to save money. In the same way that it was super important for companies like Zoom or Blackboard or PlayStation 4, or if you have kids, I'm sure they play Fortnite, and so Epic Games. All those types of companies surged like they'd never seen before, largely on top of AWS. And so, just the elasticity, I think, it was always a powerful point, but when you have some kind of discontinuous event, like a pandemic is, I think the benefit of elasticity is even stronger. I think, I mentioned this the other day, that while every company in the world has tried to figure out how to save money in the last 9 months, I also think a lot of companies, particularly enterprises, have taken a step back and thought about what do they want to change. And one of the big things they want to change is that they'd like to stop running their own infrastructure and move to the cloud. And we've had so many conversations with various companies for years where we've talked about a plan for them to make that transformation, where that discussion has moved to a real plan and action. So I think when all is said and done, and you look at the cloud, 100 years from now, I think that this pandemic will have accelerated adoption a few years. And I think also, just in the way that we work, I think like a lot of people, I was really worried about having to work from home and the team having to work from home and not being together. And we have a meeting-intensive culture, and there's a high amount of collaboration and riffing on one another. And I was, it's not as good as being in person, being remote, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I think the team's been very, very productive. I think it's been a great playing field leveler for a lot of our remote teammates, because most of these meetings take place in one place. Most of the people there, you have a few people on the video conference, but they're a little bit off to the side. It's a little hard to participate. It's hard to hear. It's hard to see. But with everybody just getting a square, it's really been a playing field leveler, and we had so much more participation and engagement from our remote teammates. I love it that when we come back and we're in the office more at some point, we're going to change how we do meetings to be able to better incorporate our remote teammates. So just a lot of things that we've all learned, some of which we'll take with us. I think there'll be a number of employees and functions where they'll work more remotely than they will in the office. And the office, will become more of a collaboration and innovation space for those people. And there'll be some jobs where it's much more productive to be in the office around your teammates when you need to brainstorm and work together. And there'll be more in the office. But it will not, in my opinion, it will not look exactly like it was before.
Yeah. I completely agree with you that through this, I personally have developed more empathy for people who are working remotely. And I think it's a great lesson for us, because sometimes you don't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andy, during your keynote, as always, you had some amazing announcements. A lot of great launches. And for our partners who want to continue to grow their business with us, what are some of the announcements that you think are most impactful for our partners?
There's a lot, Doug. I spent 3 hours talking about that on Tuesday. But I think there's quite a bit. If you are if you're building a business and you're in an ISV or a SaaS provider, or even an SI building their own capabilities, if you look at compute, the 5 instance families that we launched, what we're doing with chips, the fact that you can get 40% better price performance now using Graviton2 chips, on all our most powerful instance families. If you're using containers, just the choices we give you in containers, and then the ability now to have the same deployment and management mechanism both in AWS and on premises, the ability to have tools to deploy Lambda functions in your container images that you've invested in, but also just to be able to manage the deployment of decentralized microservices like what we provided with Proton, it's a total game changer in managing those smaller units of compute. So I think those are all huge for customers. I think on the data side, having the power of the first SAN in the cloud with Block Express is a big deal. I think so many customers have been moving from those commercial grade old guard relational database providers to Aurora, and having now a serverless option in Aurora Serverless v2 that allows you to run really everything that you want on Aurora with all of Aurora's features, and that scales capacity instantaneously as big as you need. It's just, you can save a lot of money instead of having to provision at the peak, which I think customers will be excited about. But then, I think the combination of the advent of these purpose-built data stores on the database side and on the analytics side, along with Elastic Views, which gives you the freedom to have that data movement and the power you get from combining data, from your data lake to your purpose-built stores to different purpose-built stores. It just changes what's possible. I think all that's very exciting. Machine learning and AI continues to be unbelievably fast growing, and if you whatever layer of the machine learning stack you want to participate at, we have a giant investment and set of capabilities there. And not just for expert machine learning practitioners and what they get at the chips layer and the frameworks layer, but I think just look at SageMaker and how quickly it continues to iterate and innovate. And last year was a big deal in launching SageMaker Studio. This year, knocking out a bunch of the biggest remaining difficult issues with data preparation and data wrangler and feature store, and the first CI/CD for machine learning with pipelines. I think those are big deals. And I think that a lot of our customers will also find it incredibly useful to use Q in QuickSight. To be able to let your BI users just be able to ask questions in natural language instead of having to know the structure of tables and which databases. And it's a big enabler. So just there's a lot. I would say for our SI partners, apart from using those same type of capabilities like our SaaS and ISV providers to build their own applications, I continue to believe that the single biggest opportunity that still is, in my opinion, relatively underutilized, huge opportunity, even though it's growing fast. It's just the big mass transformation and digital transformations and modernizations. There are so many enterprises that need help and want help in doing these big transformations. And it's just an incredible opportunity for SIs and our partners. And we're working hard with a number of our SI partners to help enterprises make that shift. And the timing is now, given what's happened with COVID. And I think also there's practices. For a long time, SIs have these different smaller practices that have become very successful for them. But I think there's new opportunities that the cloud presents. And to me, I think that trying to reinvent what your data practices look like is a huge opportunity. On the database side, where I think for years there have been these kind of database practices for some of these older guard commercial grade databases. I think helping people move to Aurora, which so many companies want to do, helping people think through how to use the right tool for the right job with purpose-built stores on the database and analytics side. I think that's a huge opportunity to build expertise and a practice around. I think the same thing on machine learning and AI, and you're going to have the talent to participate at all three layers of the machine learning stack, and also to do what we talked about more and more customers wanting, which is to be able to get things done without actually those customers having to think about the machine learning themselves. You can build that as SIs, but like a huge machine learning and AI opportunity. I think Connect's another big one where virtually every company needs a call center, and there's an opportunity to kind of help people move into this next generation of technology with a much more capable, much more scalable, much more cost-effective contact center solution with Connect that has a bunch of AI and ML in it, and that also is going to allow companies moving forward, if you look where Connect's headed, to do a lot more with its customer service agents than what they've done the last 20 years. Look, you look at what Dave talked about with in the marketplace, being able to now sell your services in our marketplace. I think that's also a big deal. And then the vertical opportunities. If you look what you have available to you with Elemental and media, or industrial manufacturing with a number of the machine learning announcements we just announced that let you do predictive maintenance and computer vision much more easily. There's a lot for you to go after, and you got to lean forward and you got to really invest in the areas that will help your clients and that where the puck is moving, and those are some of them.
Yeah. Based on a lot of the conversations that I've had with the SI partners, Connect is just killing it with customers. And I think there's a huge amount of opportunities for our partners to leverage all the new innovations.
I agree.
Yeah. And we have a long history of companies who've leveraged these services to build and grow their businesses very successfully with AWS, even when there is an overlap with some of our AWS native services. And you've talked about this before, but I think it would be great for you to share your views on how you look at this dynamic and what advice you may have for some of our partners.
Well, these market segments are just ginormous. They're huge. And there's room for multiple companies to be successful. In fact, that is what's happening. I mean, if you look at data warehousing, we launched Redshift in 2012, which was the first data warehouse built for the cloud and continues to be the biggest. But you look at Snowflake, I mean, look how successful Snowflake is. I think it's maybe the most successful IPO in the history of IPOs. I mean, and so you can see that in lots of different areas where we have some overlap with our partners. Splunk or New Relic or Databricks. These are companies that are doing incredibly well, and I think the partnerships are really strong. And the reality is that we have always believed and will always operate in such a way where we're trying to work as hard as we can to make sure our partners are just as successful on top of our platform as our first-party services may be. And these are very large market segments with opportunities for lots of companies to be successful. And so really my advice is that it's true for any type of business, whether you have a little bit of overlap with a platform provider or not, which is you've got to build a compelling customer experience. And I think all these companies will tell you that the reason they're having success is they have a really compelling customer proposition, and where they're iterating at a rapid rate and they're innovating on top of our platform, and building the right collaborative partnership together will also help you go to market, and we'll be committed to your being successful on top of the platform. But these are big spaces where we expect to have lots of customers and lots of partners successful, even if we've got a product in there that's got some overlap as well.
Yeah. I think the most successful partners that I've seen, they truly understand the importance of moving fast. They understand speed matters. And so when you think about that, and when the partners are really focused on it, they're going to be successful because they're going to innovate faster, right? So, and when they do that, they can leverage the AWS service to do so. In your keynote, you talked about how some of these companies who are leaders, it's actually really difficult to sort of sustain that leadership position for an extended period of time. Yeah. And I know you played competitive sports growing up and in college, and so I'm sure you spent a lot of time training to be the best at what you do. Are there some learnings that you've had from your early days of training to become best at what you do, and how you've sort of taken that to shape the culture at AWS?
Well, I think you're right that it's really hard to build a sustainable business. And like we were just talking about a minute ago or two, the very best way that you can build a successful, sustainable business is to weed out a lot of the distractions and a lot of the noise and a lot of the controversy, and there's lots of juicy things to talk about all the time. What really matters is, what do your customers care about? Mm-hmm. What do they need from you? Can you get those pieces of feedback? And then, do you give yourself and your builders the best possible chance to iterate and to evolve the customer experience so that you continue to be successful over a long period of time? And that's really what we're trying to do in AWS. And if I think about some of the things I think have helped us think about trying to be successful over a period of time and lead over a period of time, I'll start just inside the company. I think that we have who we hire coupled with some of the cultural pieces and mechanisms have been very useful. So we disproportionately index in hiring builders, people who like to invent, people who like to look at situations and look at what's wrong with them, figure out how to reinvent. And then we have this very strong customer focus and obsession where everything we do starts with the customers and moves backwards from there. And I've talked about this a few times where there, a lot of other big technology companies tend to be more competitor focused, which by the way can be a successful strategy. It's just not ours. I think one of the advantages in being customer focused like we are is that customers never tire of telling you things that you can do better and things that they want. And so when you have a customer focused culture, it means that even if you're leading in a particular market segment, you continue to be hungry and you continue to push to evolve because your customers are asking you to build all sorts of things that change what they can do. And then I think the mechanism there that we've layered on top of that is we've done, I think, a good job as a business in building customer feedback loops. Some of them are natural. Our customers like to tweet and blog, and we have salespeople out there and evangelists and all kinds of forums. But some of them are just mechanisms we've built where we have really good ways for our people in the field to get information to our product builders. And those meetings, a lot of times when people in the field are capturing what customers want, you don't have the engineering teams and the product teams in that room. But for us, they don't just stay in their lanes. They're part of the same team and they're in the room together. And so we have a really effective way of capturing that feedback that our customers give us for our product builders. I think also the second thing I talk about is that we have an unusual, what I would say, truth-telling culture where we really value trying to get to the truth of what matters most. And we have this leadership principle called have backbone, disagree, and commit. And so what it means is we don't just encourage you to speak up if you think we're headed down a bad path for customers. We expect you to do so. And there's this canonical example of two people look at a ceiling and one person says it's 12 feet and the other person says it's 8 feet, and they say, okay, let's compromise, it's 10 feet. And of course it's not 10 feet. We don't want to compromise for social cohesion. And most of the decisions we have to make are not as simple as that. But the concept applies, which is we want to debate with one another and we want to argue with one another and we want to actually try as best as we can as a team to get to the truth. And when you have that type of environment coupled with builders, then you give them the freedom to really be looking at what's working and what's not working and what do customers need and what do we need to reinvent. And so I think just that, that combination of things has our builders divinely discontented and always trying to make the experience better for customers. And I think also we have a very long-term orientation. We're really lucky that we work at a company and in a culture that isn't optimizing for a quarter. We're always trying to figure out what will be best for customers over a long period of time because we're trying to build a business that outlasts all of us. And you saw that in the pandemic where we really spent a lot of our field time trying to help customers live to fight another day and to save money so that they can kind of sustain over time. So I think those are some of the things inside the company and the culture that help us think about how to continue leading. I think to your question about personal experience, and Doug knows this well because Doug and I work so closely together. As a kid, I grew up playing competitive sports, and probably the sport I spent the most amount of time on was playing tennis, and I played that national junior tennis circuit, which for those who don't, at least it was back then. I don't know what it's like now, but it was a little bit of a circus. It was very intense, especially on the East Coast. But it taught me a lot. There were a lot of hard parts of it, but it taught me a lot of really great lessons that have served me well later in life. And I think one of the lessons you learn is that you play these tournaments almost every week. The tournaments are Friday night through Sunday night. And you can have the greatest win that you've had all year or maybe in your life at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and then have to go back out on the court at 2. And if you don't play well and you lose, it's all gone. So it teaches you not to get too high when things are going well because there's always the next match. And I would say the opposite is true too, which is you can have these, losses where you work so hard for a few weeks and you played so well in practice, and you get out on the court and you just don't execute it, and it's so disappointing and disheartening. And yet you just got to go back out there the next week and forget about it, and which is hard, by the way. It's hard as a kid, it's hard as a grown-up, but trying to have that even-handedness and level-headedness around what you're doing, and realizing that it's a long game, and you're trying to build something over a long period of time, and things that are going well, you have to keep working just as hard for them to continue going well, and things that don't go right, you got to learn from those things and evolve from them. That's, I think, helped as well.
Yeah, completely resonates with me.
Well, you're an amazing golfer. I mean, you were a scratch golfer.
So it's something that we all experience if you play competitive sports, right? You'll have your ups and downs. All right, Andy, one last question. For your keynote, you talked a lot about reinvention. And how it's important for our customers. And, our partners play an important role in that reinvention. And so, what do you think our partners need to do to help our customers with their reinvention and help them innovate for the future?
Well, I think there are a lot of ways that partners can have a real impact on enterprises being able to reinvent, both positively or negatively. So I mean, it's really up to you to figure out how to help those customers evolve the right way. We talked about, some of the keys to reinventing. You need to have the willingness as a leadership team to invent and to reinvent and to get to the truth of what's working, what's not, and have the courage to make changes. And you need the right talent who's hungry to learn and hungry to invent, and yet you also have to make sure that talent doesn't just work on the things they like, and they think are cool, and really work on the things that matter for customers. And you got to move quickly. I think so many companies have convinced themselves that their plight is that they've got to move slow, and speed is a choice. It really is a choice in how you build your culture and how you set the expectations of your team. So, needing to move quickly, and then also at the same time not allowing yourself to get too complex, because it really fights with moving quickly, and then having the right top-down aggressive goal to force the org to move faster than it otherwise would. Those are some of the keys, I think, in building the right type of reinvention culture. And I think that SIs have a big role in influencing how that happens. I mean, I think there are a lot of times when companies are hiring you as partners because they want an objective look at what's working, what's not working. And really trying to step back and help those customers figure out what's working or not, independent of what it means for you, independent of whether you believe it's going to be met with approval by the client or not, just thinking about what's best for that company to be successful over a long period of time. You could have a huge impact on that. I think that trying to make sure that those companies work on the most important needle movers for the business, very important. I think that helping those companies move more quickly. I think that SIs can be a contributor or a detriment there. And I think that trying to figure out, I think there's probably some reinvention too in some of our partners, where just trying to figure out for yourselves how you move faster, and then in turn how you can help your clients move faster. It's a big deal for them, and it's not easy to move fast. And the better that you are at modeling that and helping them figure that out, there's probably whole new modules that you could build and teach around that, where I think you can really help them. And then also helping them not get too complicated. Sometimes companies will sometimes do it to themselves. Partners will sometimes help do it to those customers, but just helping them figure out, if they're making a big transformation, a big shift, how to get focused on the things that really matter, that allow them to get results, allow them to get momentum, allow them to show that the investment is worth it before you layer on more complexity. And then I also think that our partners are going to be as good as anybody in helping companies build the right top-down aggressive goals that force the organization to move faster. And sometimes we find that our customers are really hungry to do it, and they just don't know what's an aggressive enough goal and what's viable. And you know, they often ask us for our input, which we're happy to give. But I think partners are in a unique position to provide that type of counsel. And so I think that partners will have a very, very big impact on how our customers build the capacity to reinvent themselves. And I think that also it's important. I mean, you know this, we look at every year in AWS when we do operating planning for the next year, one of the things we look at is what are things that we've been doing for a long period of time that we should challenge. Even our most closely held beliefs. Anybody in the organization has the ability to say, we should stop doing this, or we should do it this way, and write a paper, and we'll look at it and evaluate it. And almost every year there are new things that people suggest that we change how we do it. And I think that it's important for companies to do it. I think it's important for partners to do it. And you know, if you don't have the capacity to reinvent, it's very tough to be successful over a long period of time. So I'm excited about how partners can help, and we're excited about how we can partner with you to help our joint customers.
Well, you know, Andy, I mentioned earlier that I'm feeling very optimistic that our partners will make that sort of that transition, and they'll help our customers transform and reinvent. I think you're going to see the partners really move the needle for our business.
I believe it. We've seen it in the we see it every year. It's an incredible. I mean, our strategic partners on both the SI side as well as ISVs and SaaS providers are really strategic to the business, and you know, I think collectively we would all not be here without one another, and it's very important, and we really appreciate all the partnership and help. And I think that most of what's out there is in front of us. You know, I think that we often remind ourselves, even though our business has, you know, become bigger at a $46 billion revenue run rate business, the overwhelming amount of workloads that exist are on premises, and they're going to move to the cloud in the next 10 to 20 years. And so there's just an incredible opportunity out there for all of us together if we can figure out how to get focused and partner the right way together.
I'm excited. All right. Thank you, Andy.
You bet. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
Agility, flexibility, and resilience are emerging as the key guiding principles for future success. All companies will look to leverage the advantages of cloud computing for their business strategy. But many of these companies will face a key challenge, in my opinion. They don't have enough in-house cloud specialists to execute these projects. They need help. Companies are looking for AWS partners who can deliver end-to-end solutions, develop cloud-native applications in addition to managing the cloud infrastructure, and have deep specializations across industries, use cases, specific workloads like SAP and AWS services. Partners who can meet these customer requirements and truly understand that speed matters, there will be lots of opportunities. And AWS is here to help you capture these opportunities together. Together, we thrive. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your event.